Hello everyone, my name is Felipe, and as you can see, welcome back to a new video. And this time we are back with a setup guide. It's actually been very good. The support I've had in the last setup guide I did. So I decided to make a new one on F1 2021 now. And many people are requiring me to do this, so let's do this. And I've decided that I'm gonna do 3 videos, which are gonna be posted on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. So this one is gonna be posted on Monday, so you can watch it on Monday, and the other ones 2 days after it. Now let's start by the basics. This one I'll show you wings and differential, and the next ones the other 4 parts. We have the wings differential, the active differential and inactive. So we have geometry also, and then we have suspension with the springs, the anti-roll bars and ride height, and then the brakes with the brake balance and the brake pressure, and the tires, which you can change their pressure like by each one. Let's start by the basics of the wings. So as much as you increase it to 11, you're gonna have a lot of turning, so you're gonna gain a lot of time for the corners, especially the entry of the corner. Alright, so when you decrease it, you are at 1, with when you're gonna have a lot of straight line speed, but not turning, like no turning, especially on this game. The rear ring is exactly the opposite. So when you go to 11, you're gonna have a lot of stability, but not straight line speed. And when you go to 1, you're gonna have straight line speed, but not no stability. And I'll show you later. I'll talk a little bit better about it later on this video. Now to the differential part. It's a very simple part, if you understand me, because if you go to 100, you're gonna have both wheels spinning at different speeds. So when you are Xing the corner, it's a lot better than 50, as I'm showing you now, because when you go down to 50, you like force the tires to spin on the same speed. So it's not good, because you're gonna have a lot of wheel spin or something, then you're gonna lose time from the exit. So it's not good. I'll show you later also, just a basic part of the video. And about the off diff, so the inactive differential, when you go to 100, it's exactly the same as the on diff. You're gonna have a lot of understeer, and the car doesn't want to turn that much. But when you go the opposite to 50, you're gonna have a lot of turning. So that's quite high actually, that the turning you're gonna get. So let's go now. I'll show you a little bit about the wings. I am at Spain, Barcelona, and I've loaded Simon's setup, which is 811 wings, 9055 differential. I won't talk about the other parts, as I will show you in the next videos, which are upcoming this week. So let's go for the wings. So 811 wings is quite a common wing, I would say, at Spain, because you need a lot of turning, so you go 8 out of 11, and then you need a lot of stability on the rear end, so you use 11. That's basic, I think, about Spain. And because Spain, you have a lot of slow corners where you need a lot of rotation, so you use 11 rear ring to have stability in fast corners, but in low speed corners that's not really good. And you can see his setup now with 811 wings. It's not really good, I would say. I'm not complaining about his setup, but for my driving style, it's not really good. And I've only done like 5 laps for this, to set this lap. It's not really about going as fast as I can. It's just about showing you how the setup works. And you can see 811 wings. It's quite understeery on the on the entry of the corner. So when you are turning, it doesn't want to turn that much. So you can maybe think, okay, let's increase the front wing, and yeah, that's exactly what you should do. Maybe 911 wings works a lot better. Um, and I will also say like 1011 wings works better. But you also have a straight, which you really need to overtake, as the other part of the track are really difficult to overtake. So it's important to have a good straight line speed also. And on this game, the wings actually doesn't change that much your straight line speed compared to F1 2020. And yeah, it's exactly the a different thing from the other game, because you could use only normal wings on F1 2020, and now you can see I've changed the wings to 11.8, so I've inverted it, and it's not good. I mean, you have a lot of rotation because you've decreased the rearing, and then when you turn in, the car just slides through, and the 11 front wing is just a lot. So when you turn in, it's just clicks in and then it turns. So you're gonna see this corner now. I spin because there's no way we can drive with it. Especially 8 rear rings. I've gone from 811 to 11.8. You can see here. So yeah, I've adjusted the setup to my driving style. 811 wings, so I kept it. But I've changed the geometry also, which I'm gonna talk in the next video. But basically, when you decrease the rear toe, you create a little bit more of oversteer. And then I've decreased the front right height there, because I could have a lot less, I would say, understeer. So when you go down to 1, you can have a lot more grip on the front tires, and then the car just turns in. And you can see, and if I've gained 800s on the first sector, and yeah, that was quite a good first sector, I would say. And you can see this corner, no understeer, so I've braked quite early there actually. I should have baked later, but I didn't know, obviously. And here you can see a little bit of understeer because I've turned a little bit too early. But this corner just flat out, and I lost the car on the exit because I kept turning right, and I should have turned left earlier. But yeah, you can see the rotation for that slow corners. That's pretty good, and that's also due to the rake. Rake is what Red Bull and AlphaTauri use in Formula 1, which is basically using a really high rear right height compared to the front, and then you have a really good rotation in low speed corners. So I'll show you also in France. So this is the time trial setup from Barry, and it's 10.5 wings, 80.59 differential. I'll not talk about the other parts, as I'll show you in the next videos, so make sure to tune in the next videos to watch it. But I would say it's a really oversteer setup, this one. Even though I didn't try it that much, it was only my third lap, I think, this one on the track. So yeah, it's really oversteery. You can see turn 1 and 2 was really good, but you can see this turn 3 or 4 here, I don't know. It's good, but the other one I completely lost the car on the downshifting, and then I lost it again. So I would say 5 rear wing is a bit too low, especially if you are using 10 front wing. That's gonna give you a lot of rotation but no stability on the rear. So you really need to increase your rear wing, as I will show you now. I'll load in my setup, so if you wanna try it, you can try it. It's a really good setup for the race. I wouldn't say for qualifying, but the race is really good. 9.6 wings, 85.55 differential. So what I've done with the wings is that I've decreased the front wing by 1 click, and I've increased the rear wing by 1 click. So when I turn into the corner, it's more stable because of the 6 rear ring compared to 5. And when I turn to the corner also, I have a little bit less turning, but still a lot of turning because 9 is quite a high front wing. And I also like to talk about the inverted not right height, but inverted wings compared to normal wings, I would say. Normal wings is when you have a lower front wing compared to the rear. Similar as F1 2020. So when you have a normal wing, you usually have understeer on this game, but you can fix that by changing differential, suspension, anti-roll bars, a lot of things. And yeah, that's basically how you get oversteer. Because if you just run normal wings, you'll get understeer every time. And yeah, I'll show you later how to get the differential part. But the wings, you can run normal wings and you can run inverted rings. But I would say inverted rings are really good for especially for qualifying, because you have a really low rear ring, and then you have the oversteer from that. And yeah, that's the basic about inverted wings. And the normal wings, as I said, you're gonna get a lot of understeer, so you need to kind of compensate that by changing something on the setup. And also inverted rings gives you a lot more options to change. That's basically it. And now talking about the differential. And yeah, that also I forgot to say that I always like to go to time trial and then get the the basics of the setup, like the wings and the differential, suspension, everything else, because it's the basic. You have no clue how to make a setup from zero, so you go to time trial, get a setup, try it out on GP mode or online, and then you see if it's good or not, and then you make the changes you need. Now talking about the differential, when you go to 100s, it's like if the you were using 100% of the power of the car in both wheels, and not only in only in one wheel. I cannot really explain it. It's quite difficult, but I would say 100% on the differential makes you feel a lot more smooth on the power, and then you go on the throttle and then the car just responded so smoothly. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. I would recommend using 100 in qualifying because you have a lot of power to deliver, so you don't really care about your tires. And that's quite a good tip also if you wanna save tires on the race, or save something else like fuel, I know, and avoid overheating. I would really recommend you to use from 70 to at maximum 90 on the differential, because it can save you a lot of tire, and it doesn't overheat also. So when you are using from 70 to 90, it doesn't overheat your tires. So that's what I recommend to use in the race. And from 90 to 100 is what I recommend you to use in the qualifying, because you're just using everything you can. So you're gonna see a lot of people using from 90 to 100 in qualifying, especially some esports drivers. I've already noticed that. And yeah, they go down on the race because they just will get a lot of understeer if they keep 100. So that's the basics about it. And as much as you decrease it to like 50, you will have a lot of power going for both wheels. It's exactly as I've said on the start of the video. When you are like locking both rear wheels, you're gonna have a lot of wheel spin out X in the corner. So that's not a good thing. And yeah, now let's talk about the off differential. So the on differential is when you go on the throttle, and the off differential works when you go off the throttle, when you are braking or downshifting or something like that. And I'll show you this is the full setup, which is the world record in Brazil. And I've showed this track also because you have a lot of fast to mid high speed corners, so you have a lot of low speed corners also, so it helps to showing you what differential does on the car. And now I'm using 50 off differential, and you can already see the oversteer. That's just impossible to drive. I've lost like half a second turn 1 and 2, so that's impossible. I would say you can run 50, but it's just gonna overheat a lot your tires. I'm obviously in time trial, so I don't care about it. But when you are in Grand Prix mode, you're gonna overheat and have a lot of rear tire wear. So that's not a good thing to go 50. I can promise you that. So I would actually use from 54, 55 to at maximum 60. So that's the gap where you have a good turn in, and you can also be fast in the race, because when you go down, it's only about going faster in qualifying. And I don't know, but if you do a race, a league, which does the qualifying on the Saturday, for example, and then the race on the Sunday, you can change your setup. So if it works like that, you can decrease your off diff. And if it's just a race setup, I would increase it to 58 or something. At maximum 60, I would recommend, because after that, yeah, you get a lot of understeer through corners. The car doesn't want to turn, and yeah, just the bad things about going after 60, going over 60. So you can see this lap I'm using 100, and I've lost 1.5 times on the first sector, and I'm also losing time at this point. But you can see the understeer I get. So I turn a lot the wheel, and the car just doesn't want to turn. So yeah, that's why I wouldn't recommend you to use 100. You can see I've lost like half a temp at that last corner I did. And on this last corner I lost the rear, so I went to the throttle a lot earlier than a normal setup, with from 55 to 60 off differential. So that's what I would recommend you to use. You can see I go back to the setup now, then I change it. I go from 100 to 60. So yeah, the other laps I've shown you, talking about the on differential, I said that I was using like 150 differential, and I was using 55 off differential. So now I'm gonna use 60, which is the maximum I would recommend you to use. And yeah, you can see the turn-in is quite good. I've lost 1.1 temps on the first sector, but yeah, I think that's just because I wasn't really practicing. I did like 10 laps at maximum to get this footage. But you can see in this second sector, I'm understeering a little bit, I would say. So I don't like 60 at Brazil, because I need to go down to second gear, and I don't really like it. I like to keep it in third. But you can see I'm not losing time. Like I ended sector 1 with 1.1 temps down, and I'm gonna finish lap with 1.3 temps down. So I didn't lose time in sector 2 and 3, almost. So that's not a bad thing to do. And yeah, I think it sums up everything. You're gonna see me now changing the off differential. Like 60 is the maximum I would use, and 55 is the least I would use. Simply because with 55 I have a lot of rotation, so maybe it's not good in tracks where you can oversteer a lot and overheat your tires, like Singapore, France, something like that. Um, and I would also recommend you to use 60 at this kind of tracks, not 55. 55 is more like Brazil, where you don't overheat your tires that usually. and maybe Monaco. Didn't make it Monaco yet on this game, but yeah, maybe Monaco you don't overheat a lot of tires. This kind of tracks, Italy also, where you have really cold tires, by the way. Um, so yeah, I hope you've understand what I meant in this video. Let's just sums it up. The wings, you can run normal wings, I would say, and you can run inverted rings, but it really depends on the rest of the setup. So you could see by Simon's setup at Spain that if I run normal rings, I can race normally, but if I run inverted rings, I would not race well, because I would simply spun or something like that. Because 11.8 is not something you really want in a setup, especially at Spain. You really need that rear wing, making some effect there. And yeah, it's just keep changing. Go to time trial to take baseline, and then you go to Grand Prix or online mode to make a better setup. I really recommend you to go to online, because that's where you're gonna race. And about the differential, that's exactly the same for both. So as much as you increase it, it's gonna be easier to drive, but not really responsible. And as much as you decrease it, it's gonna be hard to drive, and you might overheat your tires in the race, so that's not good. You really need to compensate something with another. And I really hope you've liked this video and learned something. Make sure to like the video. Also subscribe to the channel, share it, and I'd like to make a shout out to Todd, who has done the amazing thumbnail of this video. I'm sure it's amazing. I'm recording it before he's done it, but I'm sure it's amazing. Check out his Twitter. It's on the description below. And yeah, I think that's it. Make sure to tune in for the next setups videos, which are gonna be out on the next Wednesday and the next Friday, about the geometry, suspension, brakes, tire pressure, everything else. And in the last video, I'll also make a quick review about everything else, how you can maybe change something and then you can change another, how you have this notion of oversteer, understeer, everything else. So see you next video, and yeah, bye bye.